Hi guys, how are you? This is Lois. Welcome back to my channel. I hope you're well and safe wherever you are. I don't intend to take long, but this is an important video that you want to call on your friends, your relatives, and the people you don't want in your life anymore. Please invite them so that they can watch this video and maybe immigrate to Canada, okay? The purpose of this video is to talk about how to get an LMIA in Canada. So what is an LMIA? An LMIA, it's a term that you've had being thrown out there. It's called Labor Market Impact Assessment. Okay? Labor Market Impact Assessment. Who needs to listen to this video? People who want to listen to this video are all the people who want jobs in Canada. Yes, you, your friends, as I said. If you've ever thought of getting a job in Canada and you're not in Canada, or you're in Canada on a different status and you want to change that status, let's say you're on a study permit but you wish to change to a different status, or you just know you have that curiosity, this video is for you, okay? So anyway, my name is Lois Gidiga. I am a regulated Canadian immigration consultant. I'm based in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, and I usually educate you guys on, Canadian immigration pathways, legal issues, anything, but my channel is just for educational purposes only. This is not legal advice, so please don't say Lois said this on her channel, I went and did it. If you do it, fine, but that is not legal advice. I didn't. If you need legal advice, personal advice, professional, in anything regarding Canadian immigration, a second opinion, clarity, help with your applications, please book a consultation on our website www.mileleimmigrationservices.ca, and I will be happy to meet with you one-on-one virtually. Yes, I work online and I'm only based in Canada. I don't have offices any part of the world. Okay, now back to LMIA. Why do you need one? Who needs one? Where do you get it? Okay, how much is it gonna cost you? And other important things that I actually want us to address, like fraud, LMIA fraud, so that you can be in the know, okay? Now, anybody who wants to get a job, okay, let me not say anybody, 90% of the people looking for jobs in Canada, they will require an LMIA. So then there's another 10% of jobs in Canada that don't necessarily require you to have an LMIA. And when I say you, it's a foreign national, okay? So an LMIA, that is Labor Market Impact Assessment, is some kind of an authorization that an employer applies for in Canada to ESDC, that is what was previously Service Canada, and they would apply there and say, hey, we need to hire foreign nationals. We need a particular talent. We can find it within the local pool of international students, citizens, or permanent residents, and therefore we can only get it outside of Canada, so we need permission to hire those people. And now that is they have to show that there is actually the demand and the need for that talent in the job market. Okay, so once they can justify that, they pay some money. Of course, how do they justify that? They have done recruitment. Yes, it's a rigorous process. They have done recruitment. A lot of people hate to do it unless you have to do it. So they do it. They pay a certain amount of money to ESDC. They do justifications. They send reports to show how they disqualified candidates. And now they show that, you know what, that is why this candidate is the best candidate for our position, and we want to hire them and bring them to Canada to work for us. Does that sound easy? Not really, but a lot of employers do that. Okay, a lot of other employers also shy away from doing that. So what I want you to get from that is that getting an LMIA is not your job as a candidate. It's an employer-driven process. So it's up to the employer to do all that, and when they come to you, they already have a job offer for you. Guess what? They also have an LMIA. Two things. So what is your job, you as a candidate? Your job is to look for a job that you're qualified for. Make sure you have a passport, make sure you're ready to work, and once you get that job, it should come as two documents: job offer and LMIA. Okay, the other day I met this lady who told me she booked a consultation and said, hey Lois, I'm here because my employer, I got a job in Canada, and she was very excited, and the employer told me to apply for an LMI, and I'm like, your employer doesn't know what they are doing, okay? It's true. They don't know what they are doing, because it's up to them. It's up to them to apply for an LMI, not you as a candidate. Where do you start? How do you start justifying the lack of your talent in Canada, my dear? You know, other people also tell me, Lois, you know what? I got a job and the employer told me to pay to apply for an LMI. And I'm like, no, it's also, sweetheart, that's not your job. That's not your job to apply, to pay for an LMI. It's up to the same employer who is lacking talent, who needs employees. Those are the people who pay the Canadian government for LMIA, not you. The only thing you should be paying for is a work permit. So you will apply for the job comes with an LMIA or an LMIA exemption. That's a different video for a different day on the jobs, the 10% of the jobs that don't require an LMIA. But for this, for the 90%, you apply, you get a job offer and an LMIA, and now with that, you apply for a work permit and you come to Canada on a work permit, a closed work permit. Okay, my friend? Now, for all of you guys who are out there, outside Canada, who are looking for jobs in Canada, there are also a lot of others who are here, who are coming on a visitor visa. They want to change. I said 90% of the jobs that you will get, you will need an LMI. So I hope now I am trying to break down these issues just so that you understand as to who does what, they do where, what does it cost, what's your role as a candidate. And I believe that majority of the people that I talk to here on my channel and I also consult with are usually the candidates. Because it's employer driven, it's a rigorous process. And I say that a lot of employers don't want to do that. It involves a lot of disclosures to the government. They have to meet certain bars, you know, with taxes. There's a lot of compliance issues. So a lot of employers don't do that. And one thing I tell people, like from my own experience, I find that by the time an employer is going to apply for an LMIA, they've already identified the candidate. And except for the cases whereby these talents are really rare, except for those cases, they will only do it for people they know. And by the time that job is posted, like a job has an LMI, by the time they post those jobs, they've already identified the candidate. The candidate is already getting ready to come to Canada. But I didn't say that you can't get. I didn't say you can't get an LMIA job out there. You will get those jobs. I know they are there on Indeed. Someone actually told me that they got an LMIA job on Indeed. I was helping them with a work permit. So there are those 1, 2, 3 cases here and there, but they are not the majority, because getting an LMI for an employer is not easy. It's the hard, you know, in Kenya we say it's hard small. Yeah, it's a little hard. Okay, so but people do that all the time. But this is also something that has been abused so much in this country. Why? You know, every time people get desperate, what happens? There's abuse, there's fraud, there's chaos. And I'm telling you, this is one of the most chaotic areas I have come across in immigration. It's very easy. The moment you have that LMI, it's very easy to get a work permit. But it's also one of the areas that I wish that you tread carefully. So I am here. I'm not here to scare you. You know, I had someone say, oh, you know, I watched your video and it's all scary. You know, 90% of the people who watch me, they will find this video useful. 1% will find it scary. I'm not here to scare you. You know, you should not be afraid of the truth, because the truth sets you free. The truth gives you clarity and gets rid of the ambiguity. But you know what? If you're scared, I'm not gonna tell you to leave. Welcome, have a seat. We welcome you. And everybody else who will appreciate this, because what I'm about to say here, okay, it's real serious stuff, but I hope you do appreciate it. Okay, now I want to tell you, beware. Where do other people get LMIs? So we've already seen that yes, you can apply on Indeed, on Job Bank, and you get a job with an LMIA. Of course, it's the employer who will pay for it. Where do the other people get LMIAs? Because this is so popular now. I see it. I'm in Facebook groups, I'm in other social media platforms, and I keep seeing people who post LMIAs and they're like, oh yeah, you know what, we have an LMIA job offer, so many of them. And out of curiosity, come on, I'm human, I've gotten you know, curious and interested, and I'm saying, let me see actually what happens. And then I would inbox someone and and say, hey, I saw you posted that you have an LMIA for an admin assistant job, or a dishwasher job, or a server job. You know, majority of the jobs they have LMIAs for, they are like minimum wage jobs. I haven't seen someone telling advertising that they have an LMIA out there for a CEO job. It's always those minimum wage jobs anyway. So they would say, yeah, inbox, and then you go into inbox. You know, inbox is that rabbit hole that you can find yourself going under, right? So, and then I say, hey, yeah, I saw you have these LMIAs. I actually have clients who would benefit. How do we go about them? And now the catch comes there, and they say, hey, you know, yeah, we have these LMIAs. They're in Calgary or they're in whatever city, and they cost. And then they would say, you know, it's not me, it's for an employer. So I'm acting on behalf of an employer. Of course, they are some kind of a broker, and I'm acting on behalf of an employer, and the LMIA is going to cost either $18,000 or $20,000. And then they go to add, of course, they want to catch me, and they will say, you know what? If it's for your client, you can sell it to your client for $22,000, $25,000, or $30,000 Canadian dollars. I'm like, come again? Yes. So they have LMIAs for sale. It's a big criminal business in this country, believe it or not. I didn't go beyond there, so don't come after me. Don't ask me what happened. You know, I just backed, I put my tail behind, you know, and I moved on. I said, let me go back to what I know, because this is an unfamiliar territory and I don't want to venture into this. Plus, it's crime, and I don't want to be aiding and abetting and, you know, doing some stuff. I tell people, avoid being desperate, okay? So what happens? There's a lot of that being a crime. There's a lot of exploitation, serious exploitation. And you know what? One day I asked one person, so why would someone get rid of my margin? Because I know you're telling me to give it to my client at a margin. Come on. But if you're selling a dishwasher LMIA for $20,000, how much are you paying this person? So this person, you will basically pay them $29,000, $30,000 Canadian dollars for an entire year. Yet they paid you 20,000 Canadian dollars. Like, is it making sense? Am I cray? Tell me, like, how much sense does it make that if I had $20,000 to pay for an LMIA, come on, I'll be coming here as an international student. I'll not be buying your LMIA. So why do I want to pay as a candidate? Why do I want to pay you 20,000? You pay me back 29,000. You're just paying me back plus tax. Hello? Someone hear that? Right? Now, why on this beautiful God-given earth would you want to pay someone 20,000 for a document to hire you, and then they pay it back to you? You're basically giving them your salary that they will give you back, right? I'll give you an example. A client, and this example actually is to tell you what happens with these LMIs, okay? A client of mine comes here. We work and we bring her here, and she came on a visitor visa. And then she said, oh, you know what, Lois, I'm so lucky. I got to people of my community in XYZ city, and they told me that they'll get me an LMI. And I told her, you know what, if I were you, tread carefully. I'm not discouraging you. I'm just saying, tread carefully, okay? So she says, yeah, I know, you know, there are people from my country. We speak the same language. I'm like, oh, good luck. And of course, she didn't tell me that she paid, but she told me she was getting an LMI. And she came in September. I believe she came in September. November, she had the LMI and she was happy. She told me, I'm waiting for my work permit. And then down the road in February, she calls me and says, hey, Lois, it's been a minute. And yeah, I'm back home. I'm like, what? You are in Canada on a work permit. She said, yeah, actually, it's a long story. I said, you know what? I got 2 days to listen to this. Now, these are the issues that happen with these LMIAs. Because once someone gives you an LMIA, you get what? A closed work permit. What does that mean? You can only work for that employer. So you and that employer, you are tight. You are tight. Okay? they can own you. Because if they revoke that LMIA, guess what happens to you? You're back on the streets. You are at the mercy of the next LMIA seller. So you better stick with them, and you know, you at least want to work in Canada for about a year so that you can get the 1 year work experience in Canada, and then you can qualify to do what? To apply under the Canadian experience class. And now you are tied to this employer and they own you, and they know that. Believe me, they know that. So there's a lot of exploitation. There's a lot of abuse. And because you're desperate, believe me, you will go to some lengths and heights you don't believe to keep that job. Okay? And because you know you bought the LMIA, even when things get thick for you, you don't want to go to the government to report these people, because first, you are among the first people who participated in this crime. So you are part and parcel of the crime. You bought an LMIA, you know it's a crime. And now they are abusing you. Doesn't mean that they are right to abuse you. It was a willing buyer and a willing seller, and you participated in a crime, and now you don't know what to do. And I want to tell you, majority of those workplaces, I say they are minimum wage jobs. They know they are exploiting you. There's abuse, there's ownership, and they know they can withdraw your LMIA at the click of a button. Okay, so they will do anything. You are basically at their mercy. Okay, you are at their mercy. And when you start complaining of anything, oh, those guys, at times I think that they are very motivated to encourage you to quit. Do you know why? Because the moment you quit, they have the same LMIA to sell. They will sell it, and it's not funny at all. Forgive me. Yeah? So these are issues that are happening here. Please, 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 please. Another client, and I think it's just this week, I talked to another client who told me that she came here also on an LMIA, and the living conditions were so bad and the working conditions were so bad, and she quit just 2 months shy of attaining the required work experience. And I said, do you want to share like why you quit? And she told me, Lois, it's because my mental wellness was at stake. So I didn't come here to discourage you guys or even to laugh. I'm sorry, but it's the truth. Okay, it's the truth. It happens. I'm not saying it's going to happen to everybody, but it happens to a lot of people, especially people who are desperate. Because desperation, when people are desperate, they go to extreme measures and they leave themselves vulnerable. And then we have these people out there ready to exploit on your vulnerability, to prey on your vulnerability. They are here. They know where they stand. You are there. They know where you stand. And they know that you will go, because there are people who say, I'll go at whatever cost. The moment they know that you want to come to Canada at whatever cost, then just know you're game for exploitation. Okay? Now, before I end this video, I want to tell you one thing, that the government of Canada knows about this, and CBSA has been cracking against these LMIA crimes and frauds because it's a big crime network. They are trying to crack it down, but guess what? How much resources does CBSA have? They can only do so much. So at the end of the day, the buck stops with you. You who is buying an LMIA, you who is doing this. And I'm not here to judge you. Please don't get me wrong. I'm not here to judge you. If you feel that is the way to go, go into it in full understanding. You got to do what you got to do. Go into it with full understanding. And with, you know, I don't know whether you have to be very vigilant to know what's happening around you. But if you're caught, should you be caught, then you risk being deported back home. And not just being deported, you will be banned from ever coming to Canada. Okay? So know what's at stake. I believe this business will continue for a long time. Yes, it will continue for a long time, because immigration right now, especially, I think the highest fraud is in Canadian immigration. Everybody wants to come to Canada. Okay? Everybody wants to come to Canada. But you know what? ask yourself, at what cost? What are you doing? And what is it gonna cost you? What are you getting yourself into? Is this the only way? That is the better question that I want you to answer. Is this the only way? Because if you have 30,000 Canadian dollars and you're getting an LMIA for a job that is paying you under 50,000 Canadian dollars, ask yourself, is it worth it? Should you actually go ahead with that? Should you be thinking of other options? Maybe there are other options out there for you. Okay, anyway, should you want to know what options you have in Canadian immigration, that's my job. I love doing that. I love looking at your profiles and telling you, you have this, you can do this, you can do that. This is a success chance for this. If I were you, I would do this. Or if I was doing this for my sister or my brother, I would advise them to do this. If you need that kind of help, before you go burning your money, paying people here, there, you know, doing wares, I don't know, doing IELTS, doing all manner of things without fully understanding what it is you qualify for, please book a consultation. Let us get into the habit of getting professional legal help. It comes at a small cost, but then you walk into your journey in full awareness, understanding what it is you're getting into, understanding whether you have good chances or slim chances, and knowing whether that's where you will put all your eggs. Okay, my friend? Now, I wish you nothing but the best in this. I wish you nothing but the best in this journey. And when I say that, is because actually, as I told you, I've come across a few people who told me they did get LMIA supported jobs on Indeed or on Job Bank. So they are there, but you just have to go there with your ears open and your eyes open wide. Okay? Very few of those LMIAs are genuine, but there are there who are genuine. Okay? They are genuine. You will get them. Check out the kind of a job they are advertising for, because then always only take a job that you can show you are qualified in. Okay, because if you take a job that you're not qualified in, there's also a high chance that your work permit is going to be denied. All right, so anyway, I hope this was helpful. I hope you don't call me and tell me that, Lois, I got myself into this. If you're already in that trap, I am really sorry. I wish you knew that, but always know that ignorance is no defense. Okay, saying that you did it without your knowledge, the moment you participate in some of these things, you're culpable.